Hey Jonesies, how y'all all doing today? I'm okay. Taking it one day at a time. And today I would like to talk to you guys about a new series on HBO Max called Lovecraft Country. It's pretty good. Okay. It's not scary. I'm gonna say it's a lot of drama. Okay. Um, it's a lot of supernatural stuff going on in here, but it's not scary. It's not like a horror show, okay? Because you guys know I know my horror. So I just want to get into some episodes with you, not to go into full details because I know some of you have not watched it yet, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But I will go into a little bit of stuff, but not too much. So the first episode I watched, it was called, and it airs every Sunday at 9 p.m. on HBO Max. The first episode I saw was called Sundown. Okay, and it says here, Atticus Freeman starts his journey in the search of his missing father, Montrose. After recruiting his uncle George and childhood friend Letitia to join him, the trio sets out for Autumn, Massachusetts, where they think Montrose may have gone. Now, when the show opens up, it opens up with him in the in war at war, and he's in the service and he's at war. But then they're fighting aliens, okay? And you could tell that was a dream because he's on the bus and he's dreaming. Now, this does take place in a setting of a prejudice era. Okay, so you're gonna see a lot of prejudice stuff happen, people saying things and all kind of things. So it isn't a prejudice era. Um, so he's in the back of the bus when he wakes up from his dream, and it's just him and this other lady who happens to be black. They're at the back of the bus because, like I said, it is in the prejudice era. The bus breaks down, and a truck comes along, a pickup truck, a big pickup truck comes and pick up the other pedestrian, not the other people from the bus, but they had to walk to their destination. That's just how it was back then. Okay, and he's on his way to Chicago to, see his uncle and talk to him about the letter that he wrote, his father wrote him and stuff like that. So he gets to Chicago, and he's talking to his uncle George and stuff like that, and he sees his childhood friend Letitia. And there's a lot of other activities going on around there, a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to spoil it for you, but in Chicago, it was a feel-good moment where they showed the block party, and that was a feel-good moment right there. That block party. It kind of reminded me of New York City, how we had our block parties, and when we used to put on the Johnny Pump, which AKA is called the fire hydrant. That's what we used to call it back in the day, the Johnny Pump. But it's a fire hydrant to some. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. And so the next day they set out on a journey to go to Autumn, Massachusetts. But as they are going to Autumn, they are, how can I say it, being approached with trouble along the way. As they going from town to town, like people looking at them crazy, real funny, because they drive through that town. They stop somewhere to get something to eat. And of course, the customers it was only one customer, the Indian, he looking at them kind of crazy. They sat down to eat. The guy that works there called someone on the phone and say, "Hey, we got some black people in here." The usual. Letitia hears them and she said, "Get up right now and let's get the F out of here." And they do that. And by the time they got in their car and drove off, they was being chased. Okay, so now they're being chased. And as Letitia is driving, she looks across this road and she see I think it's a Rolls Royce, but it's a silver Rolls Royce. And they're driving, and that car is speeding, and Letitia is speeding. She's trying to get in front of that car, and she actually does. When she gets in front of that car, the other car gets behind her and turns, and the other car, the truck that was chasing them, flips over. It hits something, it hits an invisible force, and it flips over and throwing them out of it. So it basically helped them get away. and a lady steps out of the car and looks at Atticus, and he says, drive. Now, that person, her name is Christina Braithwaite. She is the daughter of Samuel Braithwaite, who is played by Tony Godwin, who played Fritz in Scandal. Okay. Uncle George is played by Courtney B. Vance, and Montrose is played by Michael K. Williams, aka Omar from The Wire, and Letitia is being played by Journey Smollett. And I want to also say this young man's name Atticus, because he is off the chain. He's an excellent actor. His name is Jonathan Majors, and he's playing Atticus Freeman. Okay, so we have some people in here in this show that are wonderful actors who has been in other things before. Okay, so that happens, and then a lot of other stuff happens. They go to a town. They drive through Devon. They don't know they're in Devon yet because they can't find a road. So they get out and start looking, and here comes a sheriff, starting trouble as usual. And he lets them leave, and he said, you got to Sundown to get out of my town. So that's what they do. But as they get out that town and cross the train tracks, they are met by other cops, by other police officers with their guns out. So they get out, they get questioned, and then now they're walking through the woods. But something is creeping in the night, and it starts snatching up the police officers and stuff like that. And so Letitia, Uncle George, and Atticus, they run towards the cabin, but Uncle George gets left behind, but he eventually catches up with them. Now, before he does what he does, so Letitia is saying to Atticus, I can run and get the car, or whatever the case may be. I'm fast. I used to run in school, whatever the case may be. And she does. Now, when these things bite you, and I'm sorry, I forgot to add, two cops also got in the cabin with them to hide from those monsters, but they were already bit. So they started transforming into what those monsters, to what bit them. So they had to get out of there and run. So as daytime comes, Letitia, Atticus, and George, they come across this castle. Okay, they come across this castle, and that's where it goes off at. Okay, so that's episode 1. Okay, but what I forgot to mention was they heard a whistle, and when that whistle went off, those monsters scattered and went back into hiding. Okay, so now episode 2. Episode 2 is called Whitey's on the Moon. Now, they're recovering from the terrifying night before. Letitia and George are in their luxury rooms. George has all the books that he loves to read, because he loves to read and he loves to research. So he has a lot of books in his room, like a library in his room. And Letitia, she has all these clothing that fits her body well. Now, Atticus, he's in the room, and he's not, something you could tell something is troubling him. Okay, so it says that Atticus grows suspicious of their Autumn Lodge host, who unveils a cryptic plan for Atticus' role in the upcoming Sons of Adam ceremony, which in a way that Adam has to be sacrificed to open up a portal so that Samuel Braithwaite can have eternal life, or whatever the case may be that he was looking for. But it all backfires. And let me just tell you, that part right there was crazy. As it goes on, it gets more and more interesting. Episode 2 did have me a little bit confused. So what I did was I went to YouTube and I typed in Lovecraft Country episode 2 breakdown, and it did break it down to some of the things that I didn't catch. So sometimes if you don't understand something, there are people on YouTube that will break it down to the letter and help you understand the show a little bit more. Okay, so now things happen in episode 2 that I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Okay, I don't want to spoil it. So for those of you who haven't seen it, I would like for you to go ahead and watch the first 2 episodes and then come back and say, hey, I watched the first 2 episodes, and let me know what you think. Now, those of you who have watched this show, what have you thought about it so far? I like it. I'm interested in it. My husband is interested in it, and it keeps my mind off of other things. So I'm going to continue to watch this show and to see how far it gets. Because as it goes along, it gets more interesting. And see, episode 3 is about to come up Sunday. So that's August 30th, because it come on every Sunday. But that episode is going to be named Holy Ghost, okay? And it says here, I'm going to give you a little insight about that episode. It says, Letty turns a ramshackle Victorian on Chicago's north side into a boarding house, okay? And she endeavors that house, but that also stokes up racism and awakens dormant spirits that are stuck in the house. So George's wife, okay, so that she got that going on. And for what I read about that, she comes into some money. She's inherited this house, and we already know how it's going to go from there, because it is going to be linkage to the Breathwaites and the Winthrops and stuff like that. Okay, now episode 3 is not out yet. I'm just giving you a little insight of what I'm reading. Now it says George's wife Hippolyta presses Atticus for the full story of what happened to Autumn, what happened in Autumn, because her husband George didn't come home, and unfortunately George did not make it home. So that's what we have, and that's what we work with right now. So like I said, I don't want to spoil it too much. I don't want to tell you what happened to George. But when you get a chance, just watch it. I haven't done a recommendation or a review in a long time, so I'm going to get back into it with this series. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back every week and talk about it, or I might come back every 2 episodes and talk about it with you guys. So I did the first 2 episodes today. When Sunday comes, I will watch that episode. If I'm hyped up to talk about it, then I'll come back and talk about it. So if you want me to bring it every week, I will. So let me know in the comment section if you want to know what's going on every week with this show, because I do like it. It's really good. So this is my recommendation for you guys. Check it out. It's on HBO Max. It come on 9:00 p.m. on Sundays. It's really good. I like it. You may get confused a little bit, but you'll start to understand it as it goes along. So thank you for listening, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Those of you who have watched the show, share your opinions in the comment section. Let me know how you like the show so far, and will you continue to keep watching? And those of you who haven't, are you interested in watching it, and will you watch? And if you do decide to say yes and you do watch, come back and let me know how you like it so far. All right, you guys take care, and I will talk to you later.